Hey everybody, Dan here with Pain For You. Today's topic. It's not just about the emotions, right? That kind of came up through a dialogue I was having with somebody on YouTube. They made a comment. They thought they were doing something wrong. So before I dive into that, take a nice couple of deep breaths. It's about 9 in the morning here, another gorgeous day. I'm gonna breathe in the fresh air. Exhale out. Breathe in the peace. Exhale out the noise and the static, even though the cicadas are screaming. Breathe in the confidence. Breathe out the fear. So, when I say it's not just about the emotions, I really mean it. So many people read Sarno. They read other TMS type of books, these mind-body books. And yes, Sarno theorized that we've got these repressed emotions that as they start bubbling up to our consciousness, the brain says, whoa, time out. That's too intense, too scary, too dangerous. And I also add that these emotions don't even fit with our own self-image. Like, I'm not an angry guy, so when I get angry, I'm like, ugh, gotta push that away. So because of Sarno's determination as to what he believed causes TMS, or these mind-body symptoms or pains, it's very easy and very common for people to go, well, I've got to get to those repressed emotions. I've got to feel them. And some people kind of tangle themselves up and say, well, if it's in the subconscious or unconscious, they're not accessible. So how can I ever get that? So this isn't going to work because I can't get to my unconscious. And we can get really, really wrapped up in trying to uncover all of the emotions. Many people go to therapists for years. They work on their rage and their childhood traumas. And they just spend all the time looking in the rearview mirror. And the more I do this, the more I realize it's not just about feeling some emotions. I had 13 years of pain. Right now, today, I don't know which emotion was the offending emotion. I still don't. Doesn't matter. I've been out of pain for going on almost 11 years now. And so, it's not just about the emotions. It's not about finding the emotion or the childhood trauma that's causing your pain decades later. It's probably not that. If you're going to go backwards, just connect the dots. Just enough to go, what was going on when the symptoms started? Oh yeah, really stressed out, was going through whatever, a tough time with my spouse. We were moving, job changes, my kid was having problems getting bullied in school, or my parents were getting sick and I had to care for them, but they weren't very caring for me when I was a kid, so now I'm really infuriated about it. You see what I mean? We can simply just connect the dots between the onset of pain and our emotional life at the time that happened. I'm not a big fan of going back decades and decades and rehashing all of our childhood traumas and trying to process them or reframe them. If you want to do that, great, but I don't think that's required to get better. I spent years trying to figure out what in my past was the problem. And I worked through that and worked through it. I still didn't get better. So, that's why I'm so big on the mindset. I'm so big on the brain science and neuroplasticity, on how just the fear and focus and the anxiety about the symptoms can teach the brain to connect those neural pathways and keep them firing. We can learn to keep the pain going, even though the original reason for the pain, maybe the emotions, the stress, the turmoil in your lives, has long gone. You may look back at that and go, yeah, but that doesn't bother me now. Why am I still in pain? I don't get it. Because you're still in pain because it's not just about the emotions. There's no way we can ignore the neural connections that wire in the early stages. We have the pain. It starts for some reason. And we can debate as to whether or not it's a distraction from the emotions, a reaction to all the emotional energy that's not being resolved, so we feel the emotional energy in our body instead of in our hearts. Or is it a message, you know? Are you carrying the weight of the world on your shoulders? And that's why your shoulders hurt, right? You know, are there things in your life that make your head want to explode, and that's why you got migraines? Right? We can look for a message. Maybe it's there, maybe it's not. We can look for the emotions. Maybe we'll find them, maybe we won't. Maybe it's just a stress response in our bodies, but we don't have to know exactly what caused the pain to get better. We really, really don't. We don't. All we have to do is teach, not heal. Teach our brains that, you know what? Now that I know that it's TMS, I know my body's fine, so now I can grab that fear knob and crank it down. My body's okay. I'm not going to bend over and my spine's not going to, you know, jump out of my back and run down the street. I'm actually okay physically. I don't, you know, it doesn't matter if you've got horrible gut pains and bloating and IBS and all sorts of stuff. When you realize that your body is actually still okay, and in that case with the IBS and the gut problems, it's most likely chronic stress, perhaps even the chronic stress about the gut issues, that's keeping your digestive system suppressed. When we are under stress, suppression happens for both the immune system and the digestive system, which can cause these problems. But then when we stress out about the problems, it gets worse and worse. We don't have to find the exact offending emotion. We don't have to dig through our childhood with a fine-tooth comb and identify every single trauma that we've ever experienced. And in many cases, I've talked to people who they said, you know what, Dan, I've been journaling for 6 months, and not only has my pain not gone away, but I'm now depressed, I'm manic, I'm anxious, you know, everything's gotten worse. And so, again, sometimes my belief is if that's in the past and it's not haunting you in the present, why would we want to go back and relive it over and over and over again? It's not just about the emotions, mindset. And the reason why a mindset of indifference, of whatever, I don't care, is so important is because of brain science. The neural pathways get wired through the fear, the focus, and the anxiety about the symptoms. And if we want them to let go, we've got to turn down the fear, turn down the anxiety, and stop focusing on the symptoms all day long. Because what we place our attention on, the brain is going to keep persistent. So if you're staring at the pain, making it your full-time job to get rid of it, and trying to heal, and I'm not doing enough, so let me double down. I was journaling once a day, that's not working, let me journal twice a day or 3 times a day. I don't believe that's the answer. You know? And if you are judging yourself and saying, I don't know how to feel emotions, or I can't seem to find my emotions. You know, I go through the process and I feel like I'm thinking about things that should bother me, but I can't find the emotional charge. Well, there's one of 2 things. Either your repression is really strong and your subconscious is going, nope, not going to happen. Or thinking about your past doesn't bring up an emotional charge because you're over it. You've already dealt with it. You're like, whatever. I was bullied in 8th grade. No big deal. That doesn't bother me anymore. I can think of this one kid who was a real jerk off and was always like in my face trying to pick on me. You know, it doesn't bother me anymore. So it's not always about the emotions. And if you are feeling that I must be doing something wrong with this emotional discovery and this journaling or this feeling process, maybe you are, maybe you're not. But again, the goal is not to go find every single little emotional experience throughout your whole life in the hope that you'll find the very one that's causing your pain decades later. You see how silly that can sound when I verbalize it that way. But the goal is to just teach your brain that emotions are fine, and if you're upset today, that's fine, be upset. Feel those emotions. It's okay, you're allowed, you're a normal human being, right? That's what we want to do, is teach our brains that we don't have to run from these emotions all the time. Sorry, I'm getting out of the sun. It's peeking through the trees. So it's not about the emotions. Mindset. I'm the mindset guy. I think that is infinitely more important. Not caring about your symptoms and shifting your focus back to living your life, in my opinion, is way more important than journaling. Why? Brain science. Because if we are constantly staring at the pain all day long and thinking about it and trying to fix it and gnashing our teeth over it, those neural connections are going to stay wired because you keep on firing those neural connections about the pain. So, if we want the pain to let go, we've got to stop staring at it and trying to fix it all damn day long. Stop catastrophizing our future life. Stop making your pain the biggest priority in your life. Because honestly, it's not. And when you realize this and when you get through it, you're going to look back at it and go, whoa, that was so much more simple than I thought it was. You know, I always use the Spanish analogy or the language analogy. It doesn't have to be Spanish. But if you learn a language and you want to forget it, you don't forget it by speaking it all day long. Neural connections are what causes you to remember Spanish. Why? Because you place your attention on it, you practice, you got to a certain level of proficiency. Now, if you want to forget how to speak Spanish, you don't speak Spanish all day long. You just stop. You shift your attention back to something else that's more interesting to you or important to you at the moment. Right? If you want the pain to let go, stop thinking about it all day long. Stop measuring it, monitoring it, trying to fix it. Stop worrying about it all day long. Stop thinking about things that aren't even happening in the moment. You know? That's how we let go of these neural connections. We actually stop using them. And we stop using them by stop using them. Mindset, indifference, don't really care. You're gonna notice your pain. I never tell you to ignore your pain. You will notice it, but if you get up and you're like, ooh, kind of chuckle at it and go, whatever. Been here, done that before, got the t-shirt, I'm okay. And so, a mindset of indifference coupled with an intention to shift your focus back to living your life, make living your life more important than the pain, the brain will get the message and eventually let go of these neural connections or these neural pathways that are firing the pain signals. And Dr. Schubner said it best. If you can learn how to keep pain signals going, you can unlearn your pain. And that's the title of his book. It's a good book, really good book. So, for anybody who is questioning if they're doing the emotional discovery process right, if they're feeling their emotions right, or if maybe they haven't found the right things, it's not just about the emotions. It's about teaching your brain that emotions are safe, shifting your focus away from the pain, a mindset of, well, if I feel it, so what? I don't care because I know, deep down, I know it's TMS. And getting on with your life. Your brain will get the message and eventually let go. How long that takes is probably going to be dependent on how quickly you can truly adopt this mindset of indifference and truly start to shift your attention to living your life. And for anybody who's sitting there going, but Dan, I can barely move. How am I supposed to live my life? Live your life within the limitations that you currently have. If you're laying in bed, you can't move, you can either catastrophize and fear and stress and get angry and sad about your symptoms, or you can shift your attention to connecting with others on the phone, Zoom chats, not talking about your pain all day long, watching comedy shows on TV, Netflix, YouTube, silly cat videos. Do anything to get your head out of this pain world and back into something that is joyful, meaningful, has purpose, connection with others. And that's the recipe, guys. It's not any more complicated than that. This is not some mythical, nebulous healing process that you've got to get all of the things right. You just want to teach yourself that you're fine. You're not broken in your body, mind, or emotions. So with that, guys, it's not just about emotions. It's all this stuff. All this stuff matters, and in my opinion, the mindset matters just as much, if not more so, than feeling your emotions properly. Got it? So, love you guys and gals. We'll see you in the next video. Thanks.